All right. Angry Bears fan podcast episode 52 off the heels of a big Bears victory. I guess not big, but like, follow, subscribe, all that good stuff before we get into it. Um, I guess quality win. I don't know. Just went to script. We didn't fuck it up in the end. We kind of tried to, but both sides of the ball looked pretty good. Run game was going. Justin was passing. Few drops again by key receivers really giving credence to us needing a number two. Maybe it's not Marvin Harrison Jr., but we definitely need somebody else out there, especially with Komet not playing. It really shined a light on just how undermanned we are.
Yeah, I mean, Kmet played, but only like 19 snaps or
Yeah,
some
he
shit.
was only in like the big packages where like he was the second and third tight end, but Tanyan was playing number one tight end.
Yeah, number two wide receiver is definitely a need. I mean, we have one more week. It's Packers week. You know what I'm saying? We have one more week left in this regular season. I mean, you and I will still cover the playoffs a little bit, but there's going to be no Chicago in it. So, I mean, our heart's not necessarily going to be in it, of course. Um, it's going to be mostly off-season stuff. There's going to be a lot of conjecture and a lot of, um,
Yes,
you know,
volatility
guessing
and
and stuff like that until we get to April. It's going to be a long 4 months for us Bears fans here, waiting on the draft and everything. But as you said, 37-17 win over Atlanta. There were positives and negatives. Defense, again, it's just the defense plays. They weren't getting a lot of pressure on the quarterback this past week, but it didn't matter. Gavon Dexter continues to improve. He's really shining. That's an excellent sign to see. Tyreek Stevenson with 2 picks, another rookie. These rookies are playing their tails off, so that's good. Roshan got a touchdown. You should have started Roshan, bro. Oh my
yeah,
God.
if I started Roshan in any spot he could have started, I would have won.
Oh God, I saw that.
But
I
to
was
be
like,
fair, he only got like 3 carries and 2 catches. It was just a touchdown. One of the catches was for 20 yards, and then one of the carries was a touchdown. Oh,
I felt so bad for you.
yeah.
Um, and then, like I said, the rookies are playing well. Justin's playing okay. I mean, you can't. Here's the thing, and I know we talk about this a lot, right? Um, one or two throws a game should have, absolutely been caught. Um, but it's just some of the plays that he makes to get out of sacks and throw the ball down the field and stuff like that. That's not many quarterbacks in this league can do that. Him and Lamar Jackson probably are the only two that could really do what he does when he escapes and the play breaks down. But it's how often are those plays really made in the NFL? Most of the game, is spent in the pocket or a protection detail where the play is designed to roll out. We need better consistency from a passing standpoint inside the pocket. Has there been growth this season? Sure. But it's just nothing really stands out to me. We can't sit here. I mean, yeah, I know a lot of big name quarterbacks have struggled this year. I mean, Patrick Mahomes has struggled. Josh Allen has struggled at times this season. A lot of big name quarterbacks, they're not perfect either. It's just you want to see the
Well, they
consistency.
just got the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah, right
They
now
had
the
their flash seasons,
is not.
and yeah, I mean, again, I'm a Justin. I don't want to like to say apologist. I just think I see a lot of signs that I don't know, and I'm not a big fan of the whole resetting the clock thing. I just don't think that's ever been a thing that worked. If your team wasn't like the only example you could truly have is the Niners and Purdy, and they didn't even do that. They paid a bum ass quarterback, Jimmy Garoppolo, $30 million, also traded for Trey Lance, and just got lucky on the Purdy pick. So it wasn't even like that was their plan. Like, oh, we'll draft Purdy, replace our like. I don't like that. But there are things Justin needs to work on. I think um but I think this year, I think people are a little down on him. His numbers aren't great, but I think everybody's having a down year. But I think if he plays the whole year, he would have numbers comparable to Mahomes. Not maybe
Well,
not Josh
see,
Allen and things like
here,
that, but
here's
like
here's my
it,
thing, right? We talk about polls and we talk about his draft picks and everything else like that. We also got to remember where he came from, right? So he learned out of Brad Beach. He learned in Kansas City. What did Kansas City do? Kansas City had 3 straight years of all pro MVP caliber quarterback play from Alex Smith, what do? They traded up and drafted Patrick Mahomes at number 10. I'm not saying that's going to be the case
Put him
this
on the
year.
bench though.
If he builds a team, if he builds a team first and then wants to go that route, you know what I'm saying? I'm going to trust whatever decision Foles makes. If feels that any of those guys have the talent wise, because I don't think it's going to be as big of a step back as many people, even yourself included, think it's going to be with a rookie quarterback because we
Yeah.
do have a
If
good
we're only
defense
talking about
already.
passing stats,
Well,
then
I just
maybe
think in
not. I
terms
don't
of
know.
wins and losses.
I don't know.
Because we have a good defense, a defense that'll keep us in games, and
So do the
um,
Panthers.
what not the kind of defense that we've had the last since week
I mean,
6 or
yeah.
whatever it's been. My thing is this is that if you when you break it down and you take a look at it like this, a lot of the teams that we talk about, they have talent on the entire roster, right? What's the talent gap between Justin Fields and Caleb Williams? Okay, is that talent gap big enough to take that position over the talent gap that would be Marvin Harrison Jr. and wide receiver 2 on the Bears?
Yeah. I
That's
mean,
how
that's what you're looking at. And
that's kind of how I break it down is I think that need for wide receiver 2, that talent gap is far greater than the talent gap between Justin Fields and Caleb Williams right now.
and I think Justin still has a lot to prove. I just think that this countdown to having to pay Justin Fields, people are getting a little overzealous and not thinking through. Like next year, it's $5 million. If we pick up the option, $23 million, which is still cheap for a starting quarterback, even if he's average. Then we re-sign him, and the only downside is that he might sit out the one of those years, but he wouldn't sit out if he was playing bad, so it won't matter. And if he's playing good, we will be looking to re-sign him. So it's like, I'm not saying. I just think you draft somebody late. Jalen Hurts, third round pick. You know what I mean? You draft somebody in the third
Second.
round, huh?
Jalen was a second round
It was
pick.
a second round, but second round pick
Russell Wilson was a
was a third.
third.
I'm not saying don't take any quarterback. I'm saying if you really want to start your contingency plan now, like you said, the gap, we need a wide receiver too. We see it literally every week. Mooney or Tyler Scott drops a fucking touchdown pass, or Tunyon. I'm not every week, but seriously, like 50% of the games, Mooney, Scott, or Tunyon have dropped a wide open dime that what you know what I mean would have put Justin Fields over 300 yards and another touchdown to his name. And we just need somebody else out there. And you're right. I agree that I I don't know about. I'm not a big fan of Caleb, but I'm sure. I think a couple of these guys could come in and match what Justin's done. I do agree with that. What he hasn't been on passing game hasn't been out there, but I just also we know this as football players. It is a business, but winning teams not aren't always necessarily ran like it's culture, it's camaraderie. Like these guys playing together for a long time. You want to build great teams. It's not a bunch of just always assembling the best players you can get at the time and putting them on your team and going with it. It's culture, it's coaching, it's teamwork, and the city, the locker room have heard the rumblings about Justin, and they've made it a point to come out and stand up for him. And I think that speaks for a lot. Yeah, obviously, Poles isn't going to make that his decision solely based on that. I just think that says a lot. The people of Pittsburgh aren't coming out asking for Kenny Pickett to come back in. You know what I mean? They never did that with Trubisky. You know what I mean? Even Cutler. Like I just never really seen that. And again, you don't see the Steelers players coming out. Yeah, Kenny Pickett, rah rah rah. You know what I mean? Like I don't know if just because we're here and I don't see those things. I think the last few weeks, multiple players on offensive defense have gone out of their way even and to hype up Justin and let everybody know how much the team is. And have you ever seen have you ever heard the crowd chanting a quarterback's name at Soldier Field?
No, I told you that when I texted that to you
Yeah.
when
It's like
while
I
the
can't
game was
think of a
going on.
time like that.
I've never seen it.
And I'm not, and again, Justin isn't perfect and he needs to step up. But I have seen improvement this year. If you extrapolate his numbers to the full season, let's say even if he missed one game, like he would be having a on par season with most of the guys we would say are in the top 10. And yeah, maybe some of them having down years, but Justin's problem is more in the clutch, he just makes bonehead plays that really fuck us over because he doesn't really throw more interceptions than anybody else. He fumbles a decent amount, but if you look at the stats, just as much as T. Law, just as much as Burrow, just as much as Mahomes, Josh Allen, these guys all fumble a lot. Um, but he just needed to, you know what I mean, work on his clutch gene, his poise in the fourth quarter. I don't know if that. I think it's a combination of him and Getsy, but I think that, like you said, the gap between the number two receiver are just our second weapon. Komet is nice, and he's our number two, but he's just a prototypical tight end. He's more of a third or fourth option, and
He's
he's
more of a blocker. They bring him in a lot. He has a lot of chip plays where he has delay routes, making sure that he gets a chip on the
yes,
edge and then, runs out to the flat or runs like a little mini flag. Um, and like you said, those are nice. And you made a point, I mean, we were talking the other day and it was kind of last week too. You were talking about it is this game against Green Bay here carries a lot of weight. We believe there was also, and we talked about this last week too, and I mentioned this about the Eberflus hire, right? So Courtney Cronin and Jeremy Fowler, was it Jeremy Fowler? I think it was Jeremy Fowler and Courtney Cronin. They did like a podcast thing, right? And they were talking. Courtney was talking about how, you know, regardless of what we were told or anything like that, it was a McCaskey hire for Matt Eberflus. They pretty much told Ryan Poles
yeah. I
these are the
remember
list
these
of
are the four
names.
guys you got to pick
Yeah.
from.
Courtney Cronin confirmed as much of that just recently. I think it was yesterday that it was out on Twitter and everything else like that. We know how the McCaskies feel about the Green Bay Packers games. Obviously, week one was a disappointment, but with the wave of consistency and good play that's been going on the last several weeks here, I think this game holds a little bit more weight, especially now with an opportunity to knock Green Bay out of the
Yes,
playoffs.
it's a
So,
tester for everybody. We're
so
basically
I think, yeah, I think this game is either a shit or get off the pot moment for Justin Fields as well as
yes.
even somebody like Luke Getzey. You come out
I think
flat. What
Luke
happened?
Getsy's gone regardless. I
Uh,
just think he
see,
would.
here's the thing. I I want to believe it. I want to. I want to. I want to believe it. Um, but if they keep Justin, I wholeheartedly think they keep Luke Getzey as well. And this is why.
Maybe they'll hire a
So
new quarterback coach or something. I'm not like
yeah,
sometimes Getsy does drops. I just think we always talk about this. He doesn't make good second half adjustments. And for whatever reason, he takes his foot off the gas in the fourth quarter. And sometimes he draws up a game plan and he doesn't want to get off it, even though it's not working. Like the infamous screen game, it
well,
wasn't working.
we gotta remember too. He's a first time offensive
Yeah.
coordinator. It's his first time calling plays, just like this is Mehdi Bufus's first time being a head coach. But with that being said, last week was pretty damn good.
Yes.
From a play design standpoint, from a play calling standpoint, everything else. There's been improvement in some things. I know we get on Luke Getzey's case a lot, and I was the person driving the train, being the conductor on the get Luke Getzey out of Chicago thing. But when you think about it, when you break it down, right, you want consistency. You want consistency at the coaching position. This if they get a new offensive coordinator, that'll be Justin Fields, what, fourth new system
Yes.
in the
And I
last five
agree.
years.
And that's where I
Um,
sometimes I kind of have to backtrack and not want to feel like I'm being a hypocrite because I want them to give Justin time. And just like Justin's a first time quarterback, Getsy's a first time play caller. He's all the same excuses we're giving Justin. He got plus he's got a rookie quarterback, so it's like there's no weapons for Getsy to draw these plays up for. He's got a rookie quarterback, suspect O line, so he's got some of the same problems. But we're all getting healthy, like you said. This is a tester game. The defense is healthy. The offense is healthy. Justin's been playing good. You know what I mean? We're down Mooney, but you know what I mean. He's probably out the door anyway. Hopefully, Komet will play more of the game. But there's just really no excuses, and I wholeheartedly think this: if Justin goes out and puts up the stinker, he's definitely not coming back. If he
yeah,
plays badly, he needs to go for at least 250 plus passing, another 50 plus rushing, and two or three touchdowns, and it truly be the defense's reason the fault we lose this game. Or I don't think he'll be back. I think this game basically and it's for the whole team. It's like a measuring stick. Is basically we should have been a playoff team. Justin got hurt. We choked away three games. You know what I mean? In reality, the Bears win like one of those games. Not even not even all three of them we need back. We just need one of the choke games back and one of the games that Justin sat out that we lost back, and we're basically shoe in for the playoffs. So if we beat the Packers, that would basically put a stamp on Eberflus being like basically we're a playoff team. We had injuries. You know what I mean? A slow start and the whole defense was injured. We just got Montez Sweat. We've been harping that this is a rebuild year. This was a 3 to 5 year rebuild. This is year three, and we were a game away from the playoffs. You know what I mean? A game away from at least having a chance. 2 games away from being locked in. So with Justin being hurt for 4 games and not getting Montez Sweat, the whole secondary, which turns out is our basically our greatest strength. Most of those guys sat. Kyler Gordon, Eddie Jackson sat out like 4 of the first 5 games or something like that. 4 of the first 6, and
Yeah, I
Jalen
think
Johnson missed 1 or 2 in there as well.
I think Jackson's gone at the end of the season unless
Yeah,
they
he'll
can
be
kind of
gone
unless they can rework
unless he
his deal.
really wants to take a discount to stay. I agree with you. I don't think they're going to be paying him anything substantial. I like Eddie. He stepped up. He's better in the role when he's surrounded with talent. He's not a fundamental, really good safety. He's a playmaker who he's not a good tackler, but if you're the pass rush is good and the corners are playing good and he can kind of roam around and jump routes and trust his
Exactly. Yeah,
vision.
he's like he likes to play the ball hawk
Yeah.
role. He likes to play the Ed Reed
But
role,
when
but
our
he's just
defense
not
is
Ed
trash,
Reed.
that doesn't work and he can't tackle either, so he just gets shit on.
Yeah, I mean, we have a bright future in terms of the secondary for sure because Tyreek Stevenson looks like he's going to be a starter in this league for a while. Terrell Smith looks like he's good.
Definitely.
Jalen Johnson, of course, just being Jalen Johnson. Kyler Gordon, I
Kyler,
think,
yeah.
is the #2 ranked slot corner in the NFL right now in terms of stats. The secondary, the back half of that secondary, though, those safeties, Jaquan Brisker, he's hit and miss. He has his good moments, he has his bad
Yeah. I
moments. Same thing with
think he's
Eddie
slightly
Jackson.
above average.
Yeah, it's just, that defense is playing its ass off. It's playing really well. That hire of Phil Snow as the defensive um, senior advisor or whatever they hired him into that role as, it's the gift that keeps on giving Carolina because he was let go from Carolina and then they hired him on as a senior advisor. Carolina's, like I said, just the gift that keeps on giving to the Bears. And then so obviously the next natural progressive step there is to probably bring Phil Snow as defensive coordinator next year.
Something
And then
like that,
whoever the
yeah.
offensive coordinator is going to be, whether it be, Luke Getzey. Like I said, if you keep Justin Fields, I think you keep Luke Getzey. I think that's just,
That's
I think
probably
that's
like,
the route
thinking
that
about it like that. I just hope maybe they hire a new court, somebody to kind of remind Getsy to use Justin like Justin. I think that's all it is. I
that's got to be Manny Eberflus. That's the head coach's job.
that again, whoever that is, but maybe a second person because Eberflus is focusing on the defense too as well, so he's locked in on that. Um, but yes, that is his job, and that's what I've always been. What pissed me off about Eberflus is that like he didn't basically give Getsy at least an ultimatum and double down and take the card out of his hand and say, hey man, if you're not gonna fucking do this, then we're gonna give somebody else a shot. And then you know what I mean, a couple weeks give it back. I don't know. That's up to him. That's his job. That's what he's supposed to be figuring out. But I just think
Mhm.
Getsy sometimes lose. And he again, you're right. He's a first time coach. We want to give Justin some grace, or at least I do. Then I guess we have to extend that to Getsy. It's somebody's head's got to roll.
Well, here's the thing: they've got one more year,
Yeah.
right? I think if you bring Flus back, you bring Fields back, you bring Getzey back,
Yes.
you run those three back for one more year. You trade the #1 overall pick, you get a ridiculous trade back. Even if you're going to number 3 or 4, I think you could still get Marvin Harrison Jr. at 3, obviously. So even if you trade back and you pick up some draft capital along the way, you recoup that second round pick that you traded away from Montez Sweat in the first place. You get a center. You just build, 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 and build. And if Justin doesn't prove it, okay, we'll see what's
You
out
plug
there.
somebody else in
Luke,
there. Like
Luke Getzey,
we're gonna get
if the offense is stalling early next season again, maybe you will see a change at offensive coordinator. It's just like I said, I think if you bring Justin back, they're going to be bringing back Luke Getzey only because it's just the consistency model that they're trying. Right, they're trying to undo the mistakes of the past. Where
and you're and like I said, I can call myself here because I have been harping for that because I think that is the Bears' problem that we just rinse and repeat, like do it over again every 3 years, and but we also never even do it in tandem either. So it's like we'll be like, all right, we're gonna get rid of the coach at GM right after we drafted a quarterback. Well, and then
And
so it's like,
I don't want the viewers, I don't want the people watching here to think that I'm advocating for Luke Getzey saying that, oh, the Bears should bring him back or that he's a good offensive coordinator. I'm not. All I'm saying is that if you're running a team that has constantly been down this road of, like you said, rinse and repeat, where it's like new head coach, or I'm sorry, quarterback, the previous regime drafts a quarterback, coach comes in, gets fired, new coach comes in, doesn't draft the quarterback, they stick with the quarterback doesn't pan out, okay, they draft another quarterback, that coach gets fired, new coach inherits that quarterback. It's just rinse, 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 and repeat.
yeah,
And even, Jay Cutler had multiple offensive coordinators. Mitchell Trubisky with the Matt Nagy thing. Matt Nagy was calling plays, and it was
Bill
Bill
Lazor,
Lazor calling
yeah.
plays, and then you know what I'm saying. And then Matt Nagy decided to call plays again, and then gave it back to Bill Lazor. It's just it's one of those things where you kind of have to see it through. So I mean, Ryan Poles told us from the get-go this was not a 1 year, 2 year rebuild. This was a 3 or 4 year rebuild. It was going to take at least this long,
And it's
and you got
looking
to
like it's working.
yeah, and you got to see some. You're starting to see some dividends from it a little bit, and you have to stay consistent. So, as much as we bitch, moan, and complain about, Luke Getzey's play calling, the fact of the matter is that yeah, a lot of it's player execution because all the same stuff we could be saying about Justin Fields right now about how if he didn't, these players didn't drop these touchdown passes or anything else like that. If you watch the tape, if some of the guys were blocking. If Chase Claypool was blocking the first 3 weeks he was here, or if Darnell Mooney had his heart in it and he was blocking, on some of these wide receiver screens and stuff like that, and making plays, and these players are making plays, we would be saying the same thing about Luke Getzey that we would be saying about Justin Fields is, oh, look how much of an improvement Luke Getzey's been making.
Yeah.
And we can't give the credit to Justin Fields solely for his improvement. We kind of have to give some of that to Luke Getzey as well because Luke Getzey is his offensive coordinator.
Well, I
He is his,
agree. If he's more consistent in play calling and mixing it up and doing the things that Justin likes, then we're all happy. And I
but it's
just
it's
thought,
not just that though. It's not just that. It's the whole thing. It's not just playing to Justin's strengths because Justin's not the only one on that team. It's
yeah,
being able to coordinate an offense around everybody's strengths, right? Obviously,
yes,
quarterback's the most important, so you want to build the offense around your quarterback, but at the same time, you got to use the skill sets of everybody else that you have on that offense. We don't have a lot. I mean, we have DJ Moore, and you saw what happened. DJ Moore's having a career year, right? So Justin Fields to DJ Moore has been an absolutely amazing connection. The connection hasn't been there for everybody else. Cole Kmet's having a career year. Darnell Mooney's not. Tyler Scott's made some
the
drops.
running backs have been okay in the past game, but
Bayless
you're
Jones
right.
Jr. needs to be a running back. They've been using him a little bit more as a
Yeah, you've been
gadget back,
talking
and
about that. Yeah,
I love that. It seems like he is a little bit more comfortable back there. Did you see that run that he made for the first down?
yeah.
There was
I
no hole there whatsoever, and he just made
I
a
definitely do want to get him the ball more, especially like something like that. That's where it's like I get a little frustrated with Getty because we have like Justin Fields and Velus Jones. Is like you could be doing a little more gadgety shit where it's like get a quick little 10 yards here and you scare him for the rest of the game. Justin, you should be doing more. They ran the QB sweep. It got stuffed one time, but it was like 3rd and 7. They ran it and almost got the first down, went for it on 4th and got it. But like we should be doing more of that because that's our, like those are our guys. And for whatever reason, Mooney's heart's not in it. And Scott's just not that good. He's a rookie. Maybe he'll take a step next year. These other guys just aren't that good. And he needs a little help. Like, yes, there's
Do you
plenty of
imagine? I think I brought this up last week, but could you just imagine this scenario for a minute? You trade back to 3, you pick up, because there's a lot of talk out there about you getting the same package as Carolina that you got last year from Carolina to trade back, within the top 5. So not dropping as far back, but you're getting the same thing that you got from essentially Carolina if you do that. But Marvin Harrison Jr. and like you package that with either a Brock Bowers or like a Roma Dunze or a Malik Neighbors. You
there's
just
so
go
many good
all
guys. Yeah.
offense that first round, those first 2 picks.
I mean,
And
really, he could. At first, I really wanted an edge, but I'm guessing we're going to get one in free agency. I mean,
I told you, I
somebody.
really think Daniil Hunter's name is just
Daniil
waiting there.
Hunter, Khalil Mack. I really think one of those guys are going to be on our team next year. So I don't think we need to go defense. I think we might as well go double offense. And then, like I said, if Justin doesn't pan out, I'm not full out crash test dummy. Keep Justin and re-sign him and just ride. But like if he plays, if he's not a above top 15 quarterback next year, you
If you do that and if you build that offense, the just go offense first couple rounds, really shore up that offensive line and
yeah
everything else like
center
that.
center
Re-
center center. We have to get a
regardless of
center.
regardless of whoever that quarterback is that comes in after Justin, if Justin
Should be
doesn't do
fine.
well,
Yeah.
they
It's
should
like the
have.
Eagles, perfectly just like the Eagles. They went guy AJ Brown. They have fucking
You don't even need Justin. You can go and get Mitch Trubisky back and probably still win some games.
yes.
I mean, obviously, I'm not advocating for that. I'm just saying,
Yeah, I
in
agree.
general, you
And
can
that, but
build
I think that's the mindset we should be of. Like we're like, fine, not Mitch Trubisky, but Kirk Cousins, like, and make us a play. You know what I mean? Whoever it is, and it's like, and then that would,
apparently Gardner Minshew.
yeah, like he's been pretty good. I like the. I don't know who the Colts OC is. I'd like to have him. They run a lot of good stuff.
It's Shane Steichen because he's the head coach. He's
Okay.
also the play caller, the offensive play caller. Yeah, I don't think he's the offensive coordinator. I don't know who
Yeah,
the
he's probably not.
offensive
Yeah, like
coordinator is,
Nagy wasn't
but
the coordinator.
he's the play caller.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I mean, you see, he's doing a great job. Shane Steichen, by the way, is doing a great, and you could see how much of a difference Shane Steichen and Jonathan Gannon made for that Philadelphia Eagles team as coordinators, and that's why coaching is so important because you take a look at what's going on now. The offense is stagnant. The defense is atrocious for Philadelphia. They're the Vikings of last year. They're frauds essentially. They just can't stop a nosebleed. And
I
one
mean,
of
they
the
were kind of like that last year too, because the Bears. I mean, they just got timely stops, but I remember Justin was kicking their fucking ass, but they just beat us up because we sucked. But remember, Justin was running all over them, and he was
Well,
throwing
that's the
time.
thing is that's why coaching is so important in this league, man. And maybe give it, like I said, maybe give it another year.
Yeah,
Run Luke Getzey back, run the whole crew back. Just change the roster. Obviously, there's more holes to fill and everything else like that. Um, I wouldn't be opposed to it. I don't like it, but I'm a fan, so I'm going to watch regardless. But
yeah.
I'll be the first person to, as well as I'm sure there's many fans out there that are going to be like, "Oh, I told you so. I told you so. I told you so." Even you take a look at Bears Twitter, Bears Reddit, Bears,
Everywhere.
Facebook, whatever. It's split, man. It is split. There is a civil war going on
I
right
don't
now in
think it's
terms
split. I think it's more Justin fans. I just think the people who don't like Justin are very. They have good points. It's like the LeBron MJ debate, where like there are good, valid points, and I won't just completely disregard them. I just think that we're just like people forget how unlikely it is the next guy's going to be any better. Like that's a lot of the mindset, and we've been especially for Bears fan. You should just know that like it's probably not going to get better. You know what I mean? Maybe we'll roll the dice, and the next guy we get is Joe Montana, or Dan Marino. Like, but that's basically what you're. But like, I just
Dan
don't think
Marino
the
never won a ring though.
yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. Like then first round number one overall quarterback picks usually don't. Like most of them don't. Like Peyton Manning, John Elway, and I guess Matt Stafford 12 years later on a different team. It's like there's like five of them in the last 50 years. The number one overall pick quarterback on the team. It's like if you're picking number one overall, your team sucks. So fucking and I guess we're not in that situation because we got someone else's pick, but we're still not that good of a
That
team.
is, and see, that's where a lot of the issues arise from with people who want the Bears to pick a different quarterback. Is that realistically, it's not the Bears pick, and you and me had this conversation before when you did say if you're picking number one, historically your team is bad, blah 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 blah, and that's where a lot of arguments arise from. Is that this defense, even if you take a rookie quarterback like Caleb Williams, Drake May, Jaden Daniels, whoever the case may be, this defense is good enough to win you some games on its own. There's obviously going to be the rookie learning curve, but if that talent is there and you feel like his ceiling is higher than Justin's with this team right now, you can still compete for a playoff spot.
I agree. And yeah, if I thought it was somebody, I just personally, I think it's hard to judge him because it's like we're judging Justin on his troubles that he's had in the NFL up against how well Caleb just played in college. And I don't think that's a fair test because he's playing against bums and Justin's playing against the best of the best. And in reality, we should be comparing college numbers to college numbers. And yes, Caleb was a little bit better, but Justin was just fine, and he was a winner. And he's shown that maybe he's not. I don't even know I don't even know what name to use. Some quarterback who plays with Tom Brady, who plays with a bunch of bums, and is going to be just fine. But he showed he's a front runner. Get him some good players out there with him. Surround him with some real ballers, and I think he'll front run for you. And maybe he isn't come back in the fourth quarter. But it's like who we don't if we're winning most of the games in the beginning, we don't need to come back in the fourth quarter. We'll just win outright. Like, and sure, I would love our quarterback to be Mr. Clutch, but I would just as like enough for him to be a good front runner. And you know what I mean? Maybe we don't win the Super Bowl, but we win 12 games every year because we just got a better team. And if we get out in front, we win.
Yeah,
Um,
I just don't want pop up, divisional titles and playoff runs. You know what I'm
yes, I want
saying?
to
I
be a
don't want to.
consistent, good team
Yes,
where
I
we're
want to
and
be
every couple years we're a contender.
exactly. I want to be a consistent. Um, I want to be a consistent perennial playoff team, and with that, and here's the thing: we talked about this word a lot today: consistency. I want to be consistent. But if you're a consistent organization, you take a look at the franchises and the organizations now that are perennial playoff teams, what do they all have in common? They have consistency in the front office, they have consistency with coaching, they have consistency with
And
contracts.
they build their team with their players.
And I think that's what Ryan Poles wants to
Yes,
do.
and
But again, we have shown that if anything, this organization has shown that even if you were not drafted by by this regime and you were drafted by the previous regime, that they will reward you if you're their guy and you
yeah.
play well. I mean, with the exception of Roquan, you know what I'm saying, who was traded. I mean, you can make the argument that the signings of Edmonds and Edwards for the price of Roquan is just as big of a win as anything. But
I think you
you take
can. I
you
would
take a
I
look
think I
at
would
guys
rather have
like
Roquan, but I
well
think it was a
Cole Komet
yeah.
wasn't drafted by
Yeah.
wasn't drafted by Ryan Poles. He got extended. You know what I'm saying? Like there's guys out there that are earning these extensions um, that weren't previously drafted, but a lot of a new head coach and a new GM typically isn't going to risk their job on a guy that they did not pick. Um, and I think Ryan knows that. So he's in a position that's really never been seen before.
Yes. He
Um,
and back to back years too.
yeah, this is like a trendsetter kind of thing because what if he does this again next year? What if he makes that right trade and,
Yeah.
does his homework and strips
Honestly,
something?
he that gives me the comfortability to stay with Justin. I'm not so worried because I'm like, whatever the hell he gets for the pick this year, we're gonna be right back here next year. So if Justin sucks and say maybe we don't get the number one quarterback, but we'll have the assets to move up and get him if we really wanted him, plus Justin to give them. So we could get you know what I mean. So it's like that's where I'm also gives me a little comfortability. And again, you don't have to pay Justin right now. And I think Justin right now next year is just going to play slightly better than any rookie who's coming in, even at his worst. I
Well,
think.
and I know you talked before about Justin possibly taking like a team friendly deal or whatever to it's not going to have the market's the market.
Yeah.
He's going to
Well,
get
no, I mean Jordan
40
Love signed a pretty favorable deal for the
Yeah,
Packers. It's
no,
a
that was
2 year though,
just
right?
no, that was just a 1 year extension that became fully guaranteed, just like it was a little bit more than what his fifth year option would have been.
Yeah,
That's all it was.
that's what I'm saying. I think Justin might
But
do something like that.
long
Oh
term
no, long term,
wise,
no.
the market's the market. He's gonna get 40 plus if you sign him after his fifth year extension. You're hoping for a Jordan Love. I mean, shit, Jordan Love's doing something a Chicago Bears quarterback has never done
That's
in the history
frustrating.
of their franchise.
I don't know. They're still the same record as us, basically. So,
Yes, they are the same record as us, but they have less talent on that offense by a
mm,
lot. But are you kidding me?
I would have to look.
Christian Watson, Romeo Dobbs, Jaden Reed, Luke fucking Musgrave.
Those guys are all better
Like,
than Tunyon,
no,
Mooney, Tyler
no, they're not.
Scott.
No, they're
Yes, they
not.
are.
No, they're not. As a collective, the Bears have more talent at that wide receiver position than Green Bay does.
Probably. I
The
mean,
tight
yes,
ends
okay.
are better. The
But
Bears
they're
tight
like
ends are
running backs are
better.
better. I like the Packers O line
The
better.
running backs are better. The offensive line is better. But you know what really matters? The coaching. The
Yeah. Oh,
coaching
yeah.
is
And
better.
culture, like I said, they stuck with Jordan Love. They like I said, Jordan Love. Everyone thought Jordan Love was going to be ass because anytime he got in, he sucked. and they still rolled with him because they draft like he was on their team. They don't look to fix their problems from what you know what I mean from the outside. They gave him a shot, and like I said, Justin kind of got a shot. And I think this year, I I think he proved he'd be fine. Like there's some bad games in there, but Mahomes plays bad games. Like all the quarterbacks in the league when they lose is because the quarterback played bad. Like for the most part, like that's just what it is. That's what this league is. If your quarterback plays bad, you lose the fucking game. And but I think Justin's numbers extrapolated to 17 games, I think are we would have made the playoffs. Um
I mean, yeah, you could say that. You could say, a
or at
couple
least
things
been the last
differently.
team out. Last team out. I'm not saying
But you can also say the same thing inverse. If a couple of things had went against the Bears as opposed to for the Bears, like the game against Minnesota where they won 12-10, or the game where they
sure, but
barely
what
beat
I'm saying is like
Carolina,
you
like
can't say we would have been if the inverse would have been we would have won 2 games though is what I'm saying. Whatever like we would have either been what we are now, just short of the playoffs, or we made it. But I think we had a middling season on a middling roster, and fine, we found out Justin isn't Superman, but we also found out that with the number one wide receiver, maybe go get him another weapon. He can finally break the 3K yards, and you know what I mean.
well, that's all we wanted this season was
Yeah,
improvement. I
yeah,
mean, we talked about it all off season. If it's still a 3-win team, blah 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 blah. If you would have told us at the beginning of the season, not even beginning of this, if you would have told us in the off season that the Bears had the opportunity to, have 8 wins, we'd be jumping through the fucking roof.
yeah. The over
All of
under
us.
was like 5 or 6, right? Something like that.
I think it was 6. And I
Yeah.
said, what did I say? I said seven
I
was
think I
my
said 9. I think I said 9, but I'm a
I
Bears
said
guy, so I'm
I
high.
said seven was their floor, and like 9 or 10 was their ceiling or
Yeah.
something like that. And realistically, when you look at it, it could have been that way.
Yes.
But I was
It should have
expecting at
been.
least a 3 or 4 game turnaround because you had to have that,
Yes.
and you have that, and
I think to put it full circle, I think like you said, Justin, Getsy, Eberflus, it didn't look good. Like I said, the meme that goes around, had him in the first half, but I think they've all basically done the bare just above the bare minimum they needed to do to keep their jobs. I think Harbaugh's not going to be an option, so there's no like really big name coaches putting any pressure on the Bears to move on, and the team has rallied around Eberflus and Justin, and kind of just played well. If it was sweat, if it was the health or whatever it is, but Justin looked pretty good. Like if there's bonehead plays to be had that lost us some games, sure. But his exceptional play these last few games have clearly won us the game.
oh yeah,
And a mix
well,
with the defense, but like just scored 40. Atlanta, they're obviously not going to the playoffs, but their defense is pretty good.
they're a
They're no
top 10 defense.
they're no slouches, and you know what I mean. He made it look pretty easy all night on them.
They're a top 10 scoring defense. Maybe not
Yes,
DVOA, but they are a top 10
yes.
scoring defense. And I
Did the
mean,
same thing to the Lions. Like
Green Bay's defense is terrible. If you only go into Lambeau, even if you win and you only drop like 17 points, that's
no,
sad.
no.
It
Like I said
has to
before,
be.
Justin needs 250 plus passing and
I don't even
two
think
or
he
three
needs
total
250
touchdowns.
plastic. I think he needs 250 total.
No,
I don't care how he
I
gets
think he
it,
needs 300 total
but
and
if
three 2 to 3 touchdowns.
this has to be a statement game like it was with the
Okay.
Lions. You
And he
have to
did make a
come out.
statement. He said that the fans were going to be loud because there's
They
nothing
have
better
nothing
to
better to do but watch football.
but good. Like I said, I'm and what I've also seen from Justin, which I just for whatever reason Caleb's too emo for me. There's been not only is it hard to be the quarterback and for Chicago, but there has been a lot of arrows slinging at Justin, and he took them all in stride. He didn't show anything. He didn't fold, and same with Eberflus. I think these guys showed a lot of poise, and it's like that's what I want to see, and I think he earned to at least finish out his contract. Kind of like I said, kind of how they let Jordan Love basically told him, "Hey, we'll let you finish this out. We'll pay you a little bit of guaranteed money. You're our guy." And that's I think he's earned that part. I think he's shown that we'll be at least be a wild card team next year and give him his shot to be Mr. Clutch in the playoffs and to prove that he's a franchise guy. And if not, you want to go get somebody else and you don't want to pay him 40. But it's just like a roll of the dice. You can't just get rid of these guys and think you're going to get somebody else back. It doesn't really
Well,
happen.
we're
Um,
definitely going to see how this weekend plays out because we may come in here next week and have a completely different. This is the life of being a Bears fan, man. We're so
yes.
bipolar. You know,
I try to be consistent with, but I do think if Justin plays terribly in this game, he's gone. And maybe even we still trade the first pick, but I just think that they'll trade Justin too and just go. You know what I mean?
there's no chance that they trade Justin Fields
And
and
don't
then
take
trade the
Caleb.
first pick. Yeah, well, it
I
doesn't
don't know.
matter
I'm
who
not
the
a fan of
quarterback
Caleb.
is.
If they
If
take
they
Drake May, I'm gonna be a Lions fan. I really like Aiden Hutchinson.
if they
Um,
have if they have a guy that they like, regardless of who it is, even it could be JJ motherfucking McCarthy. If Ryan Poles is convinced that's his guy, he will go number one. They will not risk losing their guy by trading that. I don't care. I
I
don't
don't
care who
think
it
there
is.
is a guy in this draft. I think you'd be fine with anybody but May. If you got the right pieces in place. I don't know. I don't watch a lot of North Carolina games, so I just don't see it. And I've got Mitch Trubisky, like fucking flashbacks.
No, well, you and I have talked about this in depth, and we'll break this down once the off season comes. But I have been watching quite a bit of quarterback tape in terms of guys who are coming in. Um, and I still have Drake May as my number one guy right now. Um, he just checks all the boxes in terms of intangibles. There's a couple of deep breakdowns I had to go through, but I mean, just in terms of everything that I see, um, right now, Drake May is my number one. Caleb Williams is my number two. Jaden Daniels is my number three. Michael Penix is my number four, and JJ
I
McCarthy is
know
my
he
number.
just lit it up. I think Michael Penix is a little overrated. I think it's
I
more of
what
like a scheme
it,
thing. He's got a bunch of good wide receivers, but
I think the thing with him is going to be the injury history, and the age is going to be against him a little
a
bit.
lot
But
of the guys are older. Bo Nix is older.
man, if he's not the most accurate quarterback in college football, then
I
I
think
don't know
his
what is.
receivers are really good.
Dude, he made throws in that game against Texas in tight windows. Just fucking dimes. All his receivers had to do
That
was
one
just,
touchdown pass over the middle was a
oh
dime.
my god.
Yeah,
I mean,
but I
if
don't know. Like
if
Michigan's
he
gonna shit
didn't
on
have
them.
the
So
injury history, if he didn't have the injury history he had, he'd be my number one going into this draft, just because based purely on the fact that he is so accurate. He's the most accurate passer in this draft by far, by far. It's not even close. But again, it's hit and miss. It's one of those crapshoots. It's the lottery tickets that you talk about. Drafting quarterback first round is it's so touch and go, man. It's been against the Bears for the last 50 years. It'll probably be a curse of us for the rest of our lifetime. Who knows? Hopefully they got it right. Hopefully Justin can show something, or maybe in a couple of years we are back to this talking point of Bears rookie quarterback. Who's it going to be? Hell, maybe it's fucking Arch Manning.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, fine. I just think Poe's done a good job, and he'll set us up for the generational guy who's coming, or the next. We'll be in the next QB draft class when there's five guys, and we can get somebody like. Um, I'm not giving Justin any more passes. I think that, like I said, this is a huge game, and I will not make any excuses this one. The defense is rolling. Unless we lose 40-50, like I said, I want to see Justin score multiple touchdowns, no more than one turnover, and like I said, pass for 250. The Packers aren't a good defense. They got a decent little pass rush, but our O line is good. They're going to be coming for Justin. I just think they need to keep him clean. Lucas Patrick needs to fucking eat his Wheaties that morning. I don't know what the fuck is wrong with that guy. He is just trash. I don't understand like how that's the best center we could get out of everybody in the NFL. There really wasn't a single rookie who was better than that, and it's like I just
I
don't
mean, there
know.
was, but we took Tyreek Stevenson instead of him.
I mean, I guess that worked out,
It
but
did, it did, it did. But
but I did. What was it? What's John Smoltz, right? Michael
yeah.
Smoltz or whatever. But
But I mean, ever since he came back from his injury, he's been getting blown up. I don't know if he's lost a step and he's just hurt and he's playing hurt, but he has not had good tape.
the
Uh,
kid from Oregon's getting a lot of hype, Jackson Powers or whatever.
there's the kid from Georgia that I
I know
see
you're
on a lot
talking
of people's boards,
Cedric Van
Sedwig or
Noy
some
or
shit like
Van
that.
Roy or some shit or
Yeah,
something like that.
it's
It'll be
it's
interesting.
something.
That's what
But
I
that
again.
that
That's
kid
what
out
I
of
want
Georgia
to
is
see.
getting a lot.
I want to see. I was critical, and I will admit of some like Tyreek Stevenson. Gervon Dexter. I was critical of some of those picks, and they have panned out. So, like I said, I want to see him do it again. Braxton Jones has been pretty good. I could, if we could get somebody who's generational, I'm for getting moving on Braxton Jones, even kicking him down to guard. I mean, Nate Davis is fucking journeyman. He's not crazy good. We can move Braxton to guard like we did Tevin, and I think he'd be just fine. I don't think Braxton's a bad lineman. I just think he's outmatched against some of the uber athletes who play the end in the league. I think they give him trouble. Aiden Hutchinson, I think, gives him trouble. Like I said, Garrett was dog walking him, but deservedly so. And I'd want to see him give us another lineman or two. He hasn't had much help with wide receivers, so maybe we just go for Bowers. Um, yeah, Tyler Scott's got freaking dropitis,
That
but
dude, Marvin Harrison Jr. and Brock Bowers would be an absolute disgusting
yes,
first round get for the Bears. I mean, it would be disgusting because Brock Bowers, you can move to the slot. You know what
yeah,
I'm saying? He doesn't have to be an inline tight end. You
yeah.
can put him on a slot on a linebacker, and that's still a mismatch.
And
Like
it'll help the run game too, because if they put a DB on them,
Cole
you
Kmet and
just
Brock
run.
Bowers on the same side, but
Yeah,
Brock Bowers in the
you
oh
just
my
check to
god,
Justin Fields running the ball if there's a DB on Bowers, and you just blow up. And if they
like
bring a linebacker out there, he route them up. But
and then you have Marvin Harrison. Even if you miss out on Marvin Harrison Jr. and get Roma Dunze, Roma Dunze is still six
yeah,
three. He's a big
neighbors.
dude.
Honestly, I honestly think we're going to be falling back farther than three. I think maybe I don't know. I've been reading that Washington's going to make like a
They
crazy
want
offer.
Caleb Williams.
Yes, he's from there. I read that he's from the Washington area. They just got bought by Magic Johnson, so I heard they're going to be making an offer you can't refuse. But I think the only other teams that are going to do anything like that are going to be like maybe the Raiders. I know they're going to want a new
Here's the
quarterback.
thing, though. I know we talk about Allen, or who's the guy they just signed to an extension on the defensive line or whatever.
Max Crosby
Um, huh?
or on the Redskins
Yeah.
or
Whoever.
Jonathan Allen.
It wasn't Jonathan Allen. They just it was the Deron Payne.
Payne, yeah.
Um, but I'm so but if I'm taking a trade from Washington, I'm doing the same thing I did to Carolina. Give me Terry McLaurin.
I think Justin and him have chemistry. That was Justin's number one wide receiver too.
Yeah, give me Terry
That's what I
McLaurin.
would honestly want something like it, because Dexter's fine. I think there's going to be a lot of D line in free agency, but I would like, yeah, just give us Scary Terry in your first next year, something like that. But if it was Payne or somebody, I wouldn't be mad about that. If like they
No,
really
I wouldn't
want
be
Marvin
mad, but
Harrison Jr., I mean, even you get Scary Terry, you might even go and get Marvin Harrison Jr. anyway and just let it ride. That would be crazy, but
that would
we'll
be insane.
see. I'm excited to get to talk about that. Hopefully,
Scary Terry, MHJ, and Brock Bowers.
yeah, I would have
That
to
would
be a
be
freaking Ohio
I
State and Georgia. Just
oh my god, dude. That would don't get my hopes up because
yeah.
that would be just because you could throw DJ Moore played in the slot
I
a
don't
lot of the
think
time.
I know in a lot of the mocks they've got him taking a tackle. I don't think we take a tackle. I think Braxton Jones is okay. Maybe they beef him up in the offseason, get him in the weight room a little bit more. He was a little hurt at the beginning of this year. But I think he's pretty. I mean, I think he's an average, and it's sometimes again we've been talking about consistency and camaraderie and some of these things. The best move isn't always to get the best guy; it's to get the guy that works best with the rest of your team. But all right, we'll see. What do you think the score of the game will be?
The fan in me wants to say that the Bears just absolutely destroyed Green Bay. So the fan in me wants to say it's going to be, 31-17 Bears. I think it's going to be closer than that, though. I'd still take the Bears with the points, but give me 24-21 Bears.
I liked what you said the first time. I think I'm going to go probably, yeah, 35-17. I think the Bears offense is rolling. I think it's going to be hard to stop us from scoring unless it's really cold and windy or something. I think it's going to be hard to stop them from scoring 30 plus. The Packers aren't a very good team. And I think
Defensively, they're not
in
like
offense, I mean, Jordan Love does play well, but the Bears are a good defense. If the DBs keep playing like you said, they don't have a lot of good wide receivers. We match up well with them. I think we should shut them down, and I think this is a huge statement game. Even though our season's over and it's really going to fuck up our draft position, I just think this is a statement game where everybody, the defense, Justin Fields, Eberflus, they put a stamp on the end of the season and say, hey, You know what I mean? If everything would have went right and people wouldn't have got hurt and we didn't start off slow and we would, and you know what I mean, we didn't have our defensive coordinator arrested, that we would at least made the playoffs and we wouldn't have been a joke. But I think, and if we win this game, we would have split with the NFC North.
Yeah, I mean,
Well, all right, adios. We'll see
it's
you
tough
guys
with
next
beating your
week.
division
Hopefully, it'll be
opponents.
a glorious win, our first win. I was seeing what were they talking about on Mac Kirk on Heritage? I think was the Bears have only won 3 out of last 24 against the Packers or something like that.
It's been horrible.
Yes. The last time we beat them was 2018 when we went to the playoffs, and I'm pretty sure Aaron Rodgers was hurt.
Yeah, I think so too.
I'm pretty sure he was hurt that he didn't play. But all right, I will see you next week. Like, follow, subscribe, everybody. And yeah, see you guys next week. Adios.
See you next week.